Hello, guys. Welcome back to these live streaming. Dedicate. Sorry if I'm trembling right now because I'm trying to find the. Where is it? Let me see. Ah, okay. Oh, okay. I found it. Maybe no. Maybe if I raise it like this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's better now. Yes. Okay. Wait a second. Yeah. Hello, guys. Welcome back to this part two. Finally. of this long analysis dedicated to the last special episode of Shingeki no Kyojin. If the camera is trembling, is because I have to find the perfect standard for this laptop. So sorry in advance if sometimes I'm shaking. I will try to move the personal computer in the case it's a shaking too much. But anyway, here I am. As I was promising you yesterday, if I have to clean my nose, you already know that it will happen because if you follow the last episode of a Chainsaw Man that I published today, you understand how it goes. But okay, so I'm ready to start going back to the analysis because last time I was analyzing until the moment in which Eren was talking to Ramsey, or at least he decided, let's say, to save him from these people who were bullying him and punching him and whatsoever, until we reach the important scene in which they are on top of that hill and I think that scene was one of the most important ones because finally we understand that before Mikasa arrived and asked Eren, "What's going on, Eren? Why do you keep that distance between us and you?" La 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 la. And then he was asking her, "What am I to you, Mikasa?" We needed to understand what happened a few minutes or a few seconds before. So once again, I wanted to say this today. I don't have any notes as much as the last time. I don't want to write any sort of notes because, in the meantime, I am analyzing the episode. I'm going to watch the episode too. So, while watching the episode, sometimes I'm going to stop it and tell you my opinions and thoughts and theories and, well, what the hell this is. Okay. So, let me start by checking that scene. Are you ready? Let's go. Oh, let me say already one thing. Irene says, um, it makes me understand that I can't change the future. So sorry, I have to reload the episode. 1 second because I kept it like this. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Irene says at a certain point, I understood that I can't change the future. Let's say that I've heard these sentence so many times from Eren. And we heard it even in season two when he was trying to defeat Dinah, who was killing Hannes. And he was crying out loud at that time, and he was saying, "Mama, or Mom, can you see that I can't change anything?" And then he tried his best after kissing Historia's hand to change things by going by himself to Marley and by creating these expedition to Marley by himself. But the result was that Sasha was killed. So, as you can see, there are multiple times in which we hear Eren feeling so sad for the fact that he can't change anything. He can't change the future, and even if he tries his best by having these visions from the future, there is no way that he can change anything. It's just a way for him to see what's going to happen, but the result, it's always the same. So, if I wanted to describe Aaron in this moment, uh, he is quite depressed because let me tell you honestly, guys, he tried everything to see. Sorry, I still have a hay fever, so sometimes I have to clean my nose. Whatever. He tried his best so many times to change the future, to make it real. I mean, to see if he could deceive. Look, I take this verb from Steins Gate for a second, because even in Steins Gate, that was the same problem. That means that Kyoma wanted to go back in time and to try to save Mayuri, or to try to save Chris. But as you can see, he can't, right? Yeah. So Eren has the same problem, because by seeing the visions from the future, he thinks, okay, look, there's something, or myself, let's say, I'm coming back to the past, and I am showing to the Eren of the past, or if there is someone else, but I already told you in the first part, so go and check it out. It's on the channel. So I have these visions, and I consider myself lucky, because maybe by having these visions, I can try to change the future, right? Or I can try to modify things, because I don't like the reality that I am now, so I want to change it. But of course, he can't. But at this point, I wanted to ask myself, did he want to change the future for everyone else except for himself? Or did he hope to change the vision of the future as it is predestined, let's say, also for him? Because I still believe, guys, but this is maybe just my feelings. Maybe I'm wrong. And of course, don't tell me anything in the comments, because I am an anime only and I'm just here guessing. After I tried so much to avoid spoilers throughout these years, so please try to cooperate with me. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know why, but I feel that Eren is not happy with his destiny at all. I mean, I think that sometimes he thought, okay, let me change the future also for myself, also because I want to be there, maybe, or to change the future so I will be able to spend the time with my best friends, with Mikasa, and have my last years in peace, without even struggling till the end of time. And that means if I can have a vision from the future, and I see that I'm turning that evil face, like the Shubino Kyojin, if I see that Mikasa is going to kill me, for example, if I see that um, some of my comrades are going to die, what if I can modify the future to rescue Mikasa, from the fact that she has to kill me, to rescue myself for the rest of the years that I have, to rescue my best friends, or the friends, the comrades that are going to die? What if I can do that? Here in this episode, he says it clearly. No, I can't change the future. So it's quite depressive. Let's put ourselves in Eren's position. This is depressive. We can't even imagine, in my honest opinion, we can't even imagine how sad or how traumatized Eren is for everything that he is going to do, and he can't prevent these from happening, no matter the fact that he chose by himself to choose this path, because of what he discovered even after he kissed Historia's hand. Sorry. So in this case, we know what happened, but let's say that even in this part, when he is having this dialogue with Ramsey, wow, it's one of the best scenes in my opinion, because here you can see the fragility of Eren, but even the fact that he is explaining why he can't go back, and he has to push himself forward, and now more than ever. So let's hear once again. First of all, Ramsey says thank you. I wanted to put myself in Eren's position right now. I am hearing thank you from a person that later I'm going to kill. How should I react at these sentences, or to the way in which he's approaching me? Because in this present time, when we are in this scene, that means we are 5 minutes, point 5 seconds. Eren saved him. Let's say he saved Ramsey from those bad guys who wanted to punch him, hit him, and say bad things about him. Who wanted to bully him, actually. But he's saving him without a purpose because later he will be even the one who's going to kill him. So here, I think that we saw, after he thought carefully, what Eren really believed to do in that moment. His real instinct was to save that boy in that moment. And this really matters because when there was that mirror scene in which he was saying Tatakai, Tatakai, even 2 years ago, I was telling you, look, in my opinion, Eren, by saying this in front of a mirror, he is also trying to convince himself that what he has to do has to be done. And there's no way to go back. There's no way to erase this project that he had because otherwise it was a way to distrust himself because he knows that he wanted to go against his father for the same principle. So if he didn't move forward, probably he would have felt disappointed about himself. So in this scene we are about to watch, we see that Eren disclosed his heart in front of this young boy, and he's a stranger to Eren, let's say, because except for the fact that he met him already 2 times, that doesn't mean that he's a real friend. But the way in which he is so true to himself to speak out the truth in front of this stranger, that is this young boy, and he's confessing how brutal and how wrong he is because this purpose that he reached disappointed him. Look, he preferred that the result of the goal disappointed him instead of feeling disappointed about himself and his choice because of what I told you so far. If he stopped doing what he really projected to do, he became like Grisha. He would have become like Grisha. And if he has always condemned Grisha because he was a coward and because he was not push himself forward and whatsoever, in this case, he couldn't betray himself. And by encouraging himself and say, Tatakai, 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 by saying that he was convincing himself that that was the right thing to do because if he didn't do that he was disappointed of himself. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what he says. Yes, I mean, at that time in part one, I was guessing so many times what does that mean when he's saying to Reiner, I am the same as you, Reiner. But now, more than ever, I understand what he means. Um, he is the same as a Reiner because they preferred to put in front of their own real thoughts the mission. That means Reiner attacked the walls, Wall Maria or Shigashina in this case, and even Wall Rose, because of the mission that he has always had, because of the purpose. That means to become the hero of the world, the other side of the world, to be recognized, to have a great reputation, to be loved by his mom, and to receive lots of compliments because he has never had some. On the other side, Eren decides to have his goal to defeat the rest of the world. And in both cases, nobody stopped because they understood that everything they were doing was wrong. They kept moving forward. And this makes already both of them similar. Another thing that they make Eren and Reiner similar is that they both recognized that on the other side of where they were disillusioned because they understood that when they were thinking at the beginning that they were just enemies, on the other side, they could have found even good friends. They could have found good people, respectful people. And I think that that was traumatizing them, because in both cases we know that, yeah, in the case of Reiner, he had like a mental breakdown, especially even when he was pushing Annie to kill Marco. It's just an example. Or when there was the scene in the forest when Eren wakes up, and when he has discovered that Reiner is the armored Titan, while Bertold was the colossal one. But in Eren, we saw that he had this experience with Falco, so we understand that both of them didn't imagine to find the good people, but they preferred to have an experience in both sides of the world before understanding that what they were believing, or what they were forced to believe, it was wrong in both cases. Because while Reiner thought that on the other side, I mean, in Paradise, there were demons, in the case of Eren, he thought that outside of the walls there were continents of salt, continents like a desert. I mean, there was no humanity, right? And both of them realized that the contrary. So they are really, really similar. And another thing that they have in common, Reiner and Eren, in their experiences, is that they both betrayed someone. I mean, Reiner, we know that he betrayed his comrades in Shiganshina. I mean, in Paradise, or Wall Maria, inside Wall Maria, Wall Rose, when they were going ahead, season one, season two, season two, because later they discovered, yeah. And in the case of Eren, he betrayed Falco, and we know that Falco really trusted Eren from the beginning, but then he also said, "You betrayed me." That is the same thing that he said when Reiner betrayed him. So over there, there was another cycle, another repetition of events. But now I understand even Reiner, because in this final season, he had a huge change, especially when he changed by saying that he understood the mistakes that he made. And anyway, there was no way to repent himself, or at least, yes, even if he repented himself, there was no way that he could erase his mistakes that he had done. And I think that Eren is almost the same, even in this case, because even Eren, um, even if he is acting as if he doesn't care and he has to fulfill this goal till the end, no matter what other people are saying, because he has to reach freedom and whatever. But I think that he feels regretful. And you can see it even and especially when he's looking in the eyes of this boy, because he knows that he's going to take the life of this boy. And I remember when in part two he was saying, if yeah, in Memories of the Future, actually, yeah, I think it's in that episode, when he's saying, if you take away from me my freedom, I'm going to get it back by stealing yours. This is a sentence that can be condemned from some point of view, but I feel so sad to say that I also can understand him when he says something like this. That means when suddenly you destroy my world, my dreams, my imagination, my expectations, my routine, my family, everything that is surrounding me, that is so common, that is quite normal, that makes me happy. Instinctively speaking, you think that you're going to get your revenge. Then the way in which you get your revenge then is something that differs. But I think that I'm talking about myself, about my experience. If they kill one of my parents, if they kill one of my relatives, if they kill my husband, if they kill someone dear to me, especially if he or she is really close to me, I can't think, instinctively speaking, I can't think, I'm not going to do anything. I just feel the pain that I feel, and I will forgive this person because he or she did something like that. Sorry, but I can't. I can't think, instinctively speaking, I can't. Irrationally speaking, I can't think something like this. The problem is that Eren, when he's saying what he's saying, especially when we will reach the moment in which he's saying, I am disappointed, he's like a baby boy. I mean, he is saying that sentence as if someone stole his favorite toy from his hands, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm disappointed." I mean, I saw his face, and to me, it sounded like this. That's why, even in the first part, I was telling you, look, in my opinion, the dreamy Eren, the Eren that was living a peaceful life, the Eren that was smiling, the Eren that had these great expectations, was just the Eren until Wall Maria was attacked. And it's like as if when that moment reached, Eren stopped living. I mean, Eren had a switch off in his brain, and everything ended in that day. And everything that is coming after is just a consequence of that day. It's just how he behaves as a consequence of that word with anything else. Because, once again, I repeat this, he lost his family. During that day, he lost his dreams. During that day, he understood that behind these walls there were creatures, there were titans. Of course, he saw his dreams stolen. He saw his routine, day life stolen. His mother died. So that traumatic day made Eren lose part of him. So when he's talking to Ramsey, I really feel as if he's talking a little bit to himself, because I told you already, Ramsey has lots of things in common with Eren. Even Ramsey had his routine life. He liked to play with his friend. He liked to create secret places with his friend and talk about the secret things with his friend, like Eren and Armin when they were meeting together and talking about these mysterious book that Armin found in the basement of his grandpa. Um, and Ramsey, both Ramsey and his friend were dreaming about the future. Both Ramsey and his friend, especially Ramsey, thought about his family and the sake of others. So, as you can see, they have many things in common. So, when there is this interaction, let's say, or this Eren's monologue, he's like as if he's facing himself, but on the contrary, he's facing a person who's living on the other side of the ocean and can't understand him. In fact, Ramsey, when Eren is talking, he can't even understand what he's saying. We understand because we are omniscient viewers and we know all the story, but Ramsey doesn't understand what he's saying. He thinks that maybe he's talking about things that are not his business or something. And in fact, later when he goes away from him, do you remember that in the other scene when Mikas arrives, Ramsey that goes down the hill, he's doing like this. That means bye bye, as if he didn't know what Aaron said, but it's okay. He saved me, so it's fine. So I really liked this precious moment. But okay, let's go ahead. Ah. Oh, this is a great admission from Aaron, because when he met Reiner in part one of the final season, he said, I am the same as you. And at that time, I was analyzing this moment by saying most of the things that I was telling you now. But now Eren is really acknowledging himself as the worst of the two. I mean, he's saying, no, no, I'm wrong. I am worse than you. I'm worse than that. And this is a great admission. So, in this part of this special episode of Shingeki no Kyojin, you see how Eren is realistic because he's admitting, and let me tell you honestly, I was waiting for this moment because to me it was really strange to believe that Eren changed drastically like this without even admitting his change, and how these curse corrupted his heart and his moral values so much to make him become these monstrous vision of not just himself and his thoughts, but even what other bad things happened in the world. And I told you many times, it's like as if Eren right now is embodying all the cruel world together. Okay, but it's really nice that he says that he's worse than Reiner because yeah, I think he is right because at least Reiner in part two, even of the final season, had the chance to, no, even in part one, in front of him, had the chance to say sorry to Eren for what he did because he realized many things after that. And in part two, he was also saying sorry to his other friends. He said sorry to John for the episode of Marco. He was really having these heavy heart that was disclosed in that amazing episode in which they are all around in front of the fire and they are spitting out the truth. And in fact, we saw even John's reaction that was totally comprehensible. And I admired John because even if it was the proper moment to slap on Reiner's face, he did that. But he did that because he knew that he could have regenerated. Because by being a Titan, John is not a violent type of person, and he knew that he was going to regenerate after he spilled out all of the truth and after he spilled out all his emotions and feelings, painful feelings against Reiner. So I really believe so. But anyway, I admire that Eren is saying something like this because Eren, in this case, is a little bit different than Reiner. Even if he feels regretful about what he's going to do to Ramsey and all these other innocent kids and innocent people on the other side of the world, yes, he's admitting it. But Reiner changed and joined forces with the others of a Paradise because he understood that the most important thing is to not forget about what you did in the past, but also try to change what you did in the past by modifying the present into something better. Irina is not doing so. Irina prefers to go ahead with what he planned because of what I told you, because he was so disappointed by the world that now the last thing that he wants to do is to disappoint his ideas and to disappoint himself. So he is more important than everything that is happening outside. He wants to be true to himself because it's the last thing that Eren can do right now. by making a huge mistake, of course. And that's why he feels worse than Reiner, or he feels that he is worse than him, because Reiner made a step forward, because he knows, maybe from the visions of the future, yeah, that Reiner would have joined the others from Paradise, or that Reiner would have changed so much that he would have joined forces with them, or he knew, maybe by seeing things from the future, that they would have taken separated the paths, and they would have not have anything in common anymore because of the decisions they made. um Sincerely, if you ask me if Eren would have ever been like a Reiner, it's hard for me to say yes, because Eren was always an impulsive character, a character that was always following justice. And justice, that doesn't mean that you have to kill millions of people, but justice that means I wanted to protect the area that I was born. I want to be proud of doing so. I wanted to put myself in the front row if it means that I have to be the fault guy to protect others, but also to avenge everything that happened that day. And justice, it means the moment in which he saw that Carla died. Justice means when he saw Hannes dying. Justice means when Sasha died. I mean, all of these people that were part of his routine life that suddenly died, and his world was crashed. It doesn't matter if the world of others did, or if it did it the same, or if it did it in a different way. It doesn't matter to Eren. The only thing that he matters is his world, and of course he's having lots of selfishness or selfish full thoughts, because what he thinks is just what he feels. He doesn't care about what the others might think, because by having this time limit, and by knowing that there's no way he can survive, yeah, it's like okay, for a second I open a stupid bracket, but it's like when I saw today, and even yesterday, no, yesterday, sorry, yeah, yesterday, the last two episodes of A Chainsaw Man. Yeah, even in that case, Aki was doing almost the same, was trying to have another contract with another devil, because he said, anyway, I am about to die soon, so there is no need for me to stop doing this, because there's no chance that I can go back to what I was before. Yeah, Eren is the same to me. I mean, he's the same, because even if he knows that he's wrong, he he keeps moving ahead, because it's pointless for him to go on living as if nothing happened. That would have not been Eren. He fought for 3 seasons for what he believed that was right. That right now he can't change his mind. He can't turn his way of thinking upside down, because otherwise it would have not been Eren, to be honest. Oh my, look, when he's saying go, man, just for a second, it reminded me, but I don't know why I remember these things. But when he's saying I'm sorry, first of all, it reminds me the moment in which he's saying sorry to Carla because he can't change the future. That is almost the same thing that is happening here, because even Ramsey is not understanding, but at the same time, he wants to protect Ramsey, but he knows that he will kill Ramsey later. So, and it's like as if Eren, when he was saying, "Mom, I'm sorry, I can't change the future." At that time, it was like, "Mom, I'm sorry. I know that I tried my best to change the things so other people would have not died because of everything that happened, but I couldn't." But in this special scene, I remember when Eren saw the two. There was one boy and one girl. I think it was season one, if I'm not wrong. When Eren saw these two boy and girl who were cheering up the Chosahedan that was coming back from a mission. I remember the way in which Eren, no, first of all, I remember the scene when he looked at these boy and girl cheering up for them that they were going, and he was smiling and he was saying, "Bye bye, we are going." And the other scene when he came back after discovering the brutality of the world outside the walls, that means still in paradise, but anyway, outside the walls, and he was looking at the same eyes of the same boy and girl who went there to cheer them up when they came back, but later they discovered that they lost lots of comrades and that these Chosahedan was not something great because they were going outside the walls. They were killed and then they had to go back and report all of the dead people. So you see these boy and girls face that they are like okay, but at that time you see the difference of Eren, because at the beginning he was also one of the boys who was cheering up these Chosahedan that was going outside of the walls as experts of these land that was almost unknown. Okay, so I remember the enthusiasm of Eren looking at these people who are going outside of the walls with this great mission as if it was something super amazing. Okay, but then when he came back and he saw so many comrades dying, even Hannes died. I mean, that was something incredible. That mission, in that mission, they lost lots of people. When you see the face of Eren, that is really sad because he saw that these kids still want to go outside the walls as much as he wanted. But now the difference is that he knew what was outside the walls, and his facial expression was so sad. And yeah, the illusion versus the disillusion of this story is quite amazing. But you understand even from that scene that everything that Eren dreamt from the beginning to go and be part of the Chosahedan, to be the one who's going to defeat all the Titans because he needs to reach the other side of the wall, the other side of the world, going outside of the walls. I mean, you see this change in which the expectations are going to take him to hell. And in fact, what Eren expected was just not happening. And that's why he's saying that he was disappointed. Because he spent lots of energy, lots of time dreaming with Armin about this, and they were thinking that they were the only ones left. So the rest of the world had to be explored, had to be discovered for the first time after so many years. So the beauty of discovery, the beauty of the adventure, everything that might seem tortuous, but at the same or dangerous, but at the same time fantastic, because no one else could have gone outside until he is discovering that he was in the cage, that the other people were already outside, treating so badly all the people who believed that in paradise they were not demons. He was not just in a cage because he was protected by these walls because there were titans, etc., etc., etc. He is understanding that he's in a cage because of other people's choice, because that these titans are sent over there because of other people's choice. So he's seeing the other people outside of the world as if they are living their peaceful life while they are living threatening life, where every single day they can be threatened by these titans coming, and they always have to fear, they always have to be afraid that someone is coming to destroy them. So when he's discovering that other people used them to put them over there and to send the titans over there because they had to be punished, Eren lost it. I mean, Eren couldn't forgive all these people in general just because of their geographic position, just because they were over there. They were on the other side. And he thought that everyone was free on the other side until he discovered that even over there, some aliens, they were confined and they were treated differently based on the Grisha's memories. But he understood so many things that at the end of the day, his life, his thoughts, his dreams, his expectations, his uh, his will to protect humanity was totally meaningless. Even the fact that he was used as a titan by inside the walls of a paradise, he felt as if he was becoming the main resource for humanity to destroy these titans that they were threatening the island. So he felt important too. And in this case, I can find a conjunction with Reiner when he also felt important for others when he decided to go to Paradise and try to destroy the walls. But yeah, in that moment when Eren put that rock, do you remember when he sealed that part of the wall? It was like as if, yes, you remember they were saying, for the first time, humanity won. And it was just a lie because they were just to put another stone to create another cage, and they didn't even know. So the beauty of this story is that they make you understand some things, and immediately after they are going to disappoint you because everything is the opposite of what you thought so far. And all of us were Eren. I mean, we were Eren like him because we also believed that outside of these walls there was nothing. There were these beautiful continents, unexplored continents. There was this humanity gone, so they were the one left. This courage to go and explore when you reach the other side of the world and you seem like the toy that other people are using when they want, that you are treated as if you are a piece of beep when it's convenient for others, and when it's convenient also for their own sake, because the aliens living in Marley, if they treat bad, so bad, or they talk bad about these aliens living in paradise, they feel better or they feel recognized by Marley. See, they are used, completely used. So I understand that what Eren is doing is totally wrong, but at the same time I can't condemn Eren as a character because he is making a mistake. And as I was saying already, this is totally fine. I prefer a character that makes great mistakes and he's paying for it. And in fact, he will be killed. So he will pay for the atrocities that he caused. And at the same time, he will definitely reach a place at this time in which nobody will judge him, that a place where he will be able to reach his lover once again, a place where he doesn't have to fight anymore because he's done, he's finished. And I think that if that's what's happening, that's really coherent, that's really amazing, because the curse that Eren brought on throughout this story needed to reach an end. And I think that this curse was consuming him, mentally speaking, most of the times, mentally speaking. And there was no way that he would have changed if all these things would have not happened. So I really don't want to condemn Eren just because of the genocide. I wanted to see even another perspective. I wanted to see how does it feel to know, to recognize that you are used by others when it's convenient, that you are used as a toy that they can control whenever they want, when they are threatening you every single day and you don't know when they are going to break other walls, so your life is in danger. I mean, when you see Eren's point of view, you see the point of view of a boy who saw the enemy coming in front of him, and now that the same enemy is Eren himself. So now the unfortunate thing is that now he is repeating the same thing 10 times more. And he knows that he is wrong, but it's like as if he is saying, you are stepping on my tail. Now it's like as if I am a dog and I'm going to bark at you 10 times more. It's like a wave, when there is a small wave, and then the wave can even increase, like as I told you during the reaction of the tsunami. And when the tsunami is coming, you can run as much as you want, but you can't survive unless you are lucky enough to find a spot that is a little bit high, so you can climb it and be safe. But otherwise, you are simply destroyed. You are going to lose your life. So Eren said, you made me suffer for all this time. Now I'm going to repay you 10 times more to let you understand that you are nobody to take my freedom, to take my dreams, to take my hopes, to take my life, to take my family away from me. And then Eh, why are you crying? That is even the same question that Mikasa is asking him. Yes. Why are you crying, Eren? In the case of Ramsey, he can't understand because this thing will happen next. It will happen later, of course. So there is no way that Ramsey can understand why Eren is crying, as much as Mikasa at that time in episode 1, when she's asking him, why are you crying? She can't understand why, but of course we will see it at the end when Mikasa is going to kill him, and probably in that dream, Eren saw that Mikasa is going away from him, or that he is going to be killed by her. So even in that case, of course, a person is crying. But in that case, when Mikasa asked, why are you crying? He is saying, I don't remember. I had this long, long dream, but I don't remember. Let me tell you another thing. When he is saying, I had a long, long dream, and that's why I'm saying that Ymir is influencing him a little bit. I wanted to see another option. Even if it's wrong, I wanted to tell you this anyway. When Eren is saying I had a long, long dream, it reminds me when Zeke is in the other dimension, in the Ymir's dimension, and he is saying, I don't know how many years passed here. It seems quite a long, long, long time. It's like as if Ymir, I know this is wrong. I know that this is wrong, but I wanted to tell you anyway, because it was one of my ideas. It's like as if it's like as if Ymir can extend the time. I mean, It's like as if that dimension in which Zik was with Emir, or even when he was rescued by Emir, when Emir tried to remake the body of Zik, time was extended, was dilated. So when I was saying that Emir was influencing Eren, what if this dream was not coming because of the future and because of the visions of the future that the Eren of the future was giving it to the present Eren, that is the boy Eren of episode 1? But what if these memories were given thanks to this dream by Mir herself? And the reason why I say this is because by being the founding titan and by trying to find a person that was coming to her and reach her so she could have started this huge revenge based on a container that was supposed to contain her power. What if Ymir, also Ymir? No, in the case, no, see, that's why it's wrong, because only the Shingeki no Kyojin has the power to go from future to past, from present to future. I mean, he has the power to move through time, something that the founding Titan couldn't. But we know that the Shingeki no Kyojin is a part of I mean, it's a part coming from the founding titan. So, what if, even in this case, Ymir was showing Eren in that dream in episode 1 what was coming in the future, and it was a way to influence him anyway. At a point that he was crying like she was crying when she understood that King Fritz betrayed her. So, that's why I found that there's a connection, and that's why when I'm saying yes, I wanted to repeat it once again. When I say that Eren was influenced by Ymir, maybe influenced is not the right verb. Maybe I would have said Eren was encouraged by Ymir, because I have the feeling that she also wanted, by giving Eren the power, to end all this. So if you are encouraging another person that has the same beliefs as yours, then the things can get bigger. Then the things can get unstoppable, and that's why you always see her next to him, because she's thinking the same. And when you think the same, you're just making one plus one instead of having just one. So it means that it's more powerful. It means that it's encouraging him to keep moving forward, and it makes you understand that Eren doesn't feel lonely in this, because there is a person, or there was a person like Ymir who could understand him very, very well. Sometimes I thought that Eren was just even a reincarnation of Ymir after 2,000 years, and then he could go back to her because they were experiencing more or less the same things. And later, when we reach that scene, I'm going to explain you what I mean. But yeah, by being he himself a Yumi Rotami, and by having so many things in common, it's like as if Ymir found the perfect partner who could understand her 100%. And that's why, yeah, I believed that she also encouraged him by staying by his side and by granting him the power. It was like as if she was saying, yes, I agree with you. Yes, let's do it. Yes, I give you the power to end all these. So do it also for me. And this is a sort of influence. This is a sort of encouragement that comes from a person who believed the same things. But anyway, going back to Ramsey, why are you crying, Eren? He is crying because he knows that you are a good boy, that you experienced something really evil too. And even if you have so many, dear Ramsey, even if I'm talking as if I'm Eren now, dear Ramsey, even if I know that you had so many bad and hard times in your life, and even if I know that you are a kind boy, I'm crying because I know that I'm going to take your life, even if you didn't deserve that. But unfortunately, my instinct, my what I am prevails on what's right and what's wrong to do. Myself, what I am prevails on what has to be done and what not has to be done. What I am, my ideas, my beliefs prevail on good and bad people. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or not. I'm going to slaughter you. I mean, I'm going to destroy you, and I feel sorry because I can't stop myself from thinking something like this. I can't disappoint myself. And you, Ramsey, and all the others are not so important as my beliefs, as my thoughts. So I think that what Eren is thinking is yes, the more he keeps saying I'm sorry is because, yeah, he is sorry, of course, because you did nothing to him. But you are not as important as what I'm thinking. I, that means Eren. You are not more important than my mother who was killed in front of me. You are not more important than all the suffering that I felt so far. You are no more important than my condition in on that island where I was treated as a toy from others, where I was considered as a demon, where I was bullied constantly by the other side of the ocean. So what I feel is more important than your lives. What I feel is more important than all your desires and whatsoever, because what I put on the first position in my ranking, and I'm talking as if I am Eren, is myself. So myself really matters more than you. And if you are a good or a bad person, to me, it doesn't matter because I wanted to make myself prevailing on everything. So, and then of course there is even the fact that he wants to protect his friends, but this is quite obvious because he doesn't want that these tragedies are repeated on them, who are the ones who are going to survive after all the bad things that happened. So I don't know, but I can agree, of course, with all the people who said that Eren turned into a bad character because of what he is doing to innocent people. That is hypocrite because he suffered, but now he's making other people suffer the same way or even worse. But on the other side, I don't want to criticize his point of view because in life, okay, we don't commit a genocide, but in life, even if everything is reduced quite a lot, in life we prefer to protect the people we love. In life, when there is a tragedy coming, we prefer to save our body before the bodies of others. If there is a tsunami coming, you want to run to save your life first and then all the others. If there is a natural catastrophe, you prefer to survive yourself first and then you will go and search and help the others. So, as you can see, human beings have this primarily instinct to survive themselves, or I mean, to make something in order to survive themselves first. And later, others are coming. We can't deny these. I have never seen a person during a natural catastrophe that is protecting others before protecting himself or herself. This is unnatural, in my opinion. Yeah, there are some people who are rescuing others and then they are going to die because they are rescuing others, and that's quite awesome. That's these are the real heroes in life, in real life. But I'm talking about something else. If there is a tragedy that is happening to all of us prefer to save ourselves first. And then we are going to help even others. Eren is behaving almost the same. That means Listen, what matters in my life is me. I mean, is me, my thoughts, my reason, my beliefs, my dreams, my family. So that's why later he is even asking me, Kasa, who am I to you? Because there has to be a reason why I started the rambling like that. Except for the fact that I have to protect all these dear people to me, and except for the fact that I want to avenge everything that happened in Paradise, there has to be even another important, essential reason why I started the rambling later. And that's why, after this scene with Ramsey, Eren is asking me, Kasa, who am I to you? Let's ask to hear the confirmation. Am I nothing to you or am I your family? She said, I am your family. I mean, you are my family to me. And that's the one last amazing reason why he started the rambling. I mean, after he heard this thing, he was like, okay, now maybe I can understand why I started the rambling for real. Mikasa is my family. Okay, more than a family somehow. I mean, he loves her, but she's my family. So by having a family that I have lost before, but now I regained a family, this time I don't want to make the same mistake I made last time. That means last time I was not able to save my mother. But this time I wanted to save my family. And if this means to become the evil side or the evil person that nobody understands, who cares? Because the important thing is that I understand what I'm doing. The important thing is that I understand the importance that those words were having on me. And if last time while Carla was dying, I was running away. I mean, I was running. Hannes took him away, even if he didn't want to. So it means that from my perspective, that means I'm talking as if I'm Eren still. From my perspective, that day when I couldn't save Carla and I ran away. Hannes took me and I went away and I couldn't go back over there to save my mom. I was a coward. I faced myself as a coward who couldn't protect his family. But and I ran away. But this time I'm going to stand in the front row to protect my family. And this time, there will be nobody else that can stop me like that time with Hannes. That time, Hannes stopped me, you know. And even in episode 2, when he's with Hannes and Mikasa, and Eren is angry at Hannes because Hannes stopped him. Eren wanted to stay there to protect his family. So it's like as if even that day, someone stopped him from his will, as much as we saw in the memories from the future when we saw that when Eren was little and he was just starting walking, Grisha stopped him. That was a sign that every time Eren is stopped by someone, he can't stand it because he wants to be free to do whatever he wants. That day, Hannes stopped Eren, in his opinion, of course, in Eren's opinion, stopped Eren to save his family. So now that Mikasa said, you are my family to me, there's no way that this time someone can stop me. Or if there is someone that can stop me, the one and only person that can stop me is my family. That means Mikasa. And in fact, Mikasa is going to kill him. So as you can see, we have to understand Eren's point of view in different ways, not just in the usual way of the genocide that is wrong. Yes, we of course understand that it's wrong, and he is also saying that he's the worst ever. I mean, in this episode, he's saying that he's even worse than Ryder. I mean, Some seasons ago, he would have never said these. He would have said, "Do you remember? You want to betray?" I mean, okay. But now he changed his vision. He is well aware of where he is going. But the point is, am I doing this for me? Yes. Me, Aaron? Yes. Am I doing this for my family? Yes. So we needed to see things in a different way, not just being stuck at the usual vision that Eren is a villain because now he made something catastrophical, he made something wrong. But let's analyze even the personality of Eren and let's see what took him to that level and let's see things even in different ways. Otherwise, it's not an analysis. Otherwise, it's just okay, let's condemn Eren forever because he made the genocide. And this is quite obvious. Nobody is saying the contrary, but the analysis goes even in other directions, and we have to explore the character in all ways possible. Otherwise, it's not an analysis from my point of view. It's just one plus one equals two. Okay, wow. But how could we reach one plus one equals two? That's the deal. Okay. Anyway, I really like the way in which this adult Eren is saying sorry to a little boy. The reason why I like this is because you see an adult that is saying sorry to a new generation boy. That is most likely what happened to Magat when he was saying sorry to all the others. And I really appreciated that scene because you understood how Magath recognized his mistakes as much as Sasha's dad, as much as Niccolo. I mean, all these characters who were adult character who were talking to young generations and they were taking their faults. I mean, they were saying, "I am the culprit. I know that, and you are not." The one that has to be condemned. So that's why Eren is crying and saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." The fact that there is this repetition that marks the fact that I can't. Sorry, I know that I was wrong. Sorry, because even if I know that I'm wrong, I can't change the future. So I can't prevent you from dying. And believe me, if I could find a way, I would have found it, especially now that I know what's happening in the future, but I can't. It's like as if this curse was cursing him double time. I mean, another time, right? Um, but yeah, this adult that is crying in front of this baby boy, I mean, this young boy, it's so sad because even Eren was a young boy in the past. And other people who made huge mistakes as adults were saying sorry many times. Even Hannes, listen, when Hannes was taking him away, he was saying sorry to Eren because he couldn't do anything else rather than save him. But Eren couldn't understand at that time. I mean, he couldn't understand why he had to do something like this because his mother was dying over there. So as you can see, these younger generations that they don't understand where they are, in what kind of world they are. They are in the world that adults built, and they are paying the consequences for these. But these young people who have to die, who have to be exterminated, who have to pay for something that they have never done, this injustice that is reaching all these young boys and girls like Ramsey, uh, who are um, who are stolen. I mean, their dreams, their future, the way, the possibility to change this world, the possibility to erase that forest that was consuming the air because it was so deep in that forest that you couldn't even see the sky. But Ramsey, in that scene of last time that I analyzed, behind him, he had the sky here, as if there was an opening, but it was not enough. Because when the forest is so deep, you can't even see the light coming from the moon that is shining at night. So, as you can see, Eren that keeps saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I felt sorry for Eren, let me tell you. I mean, to confront, to have the possibility. Usually, when we made a mistake with a person, and okay, now let's put it in a way that it's even more extreme. When a serial killer is killing a person, and later he or she is going to repent about the crime that he or she made, he or she doesn't have the possibility to go back in time and see face that person before this happens. But Eren has this opportunity. I mean, that I don't know if it's an opportunity. For some reason it is an opportunity because he's saying sorry. He has the chance to redeem himself in front of this young boy, even if he doesn't know his destiny, but Eren does. And that doesn't make Eren almighty. I mean, that doesn't make Eren as a god because he can see from the future what's happening. Let's say that it makes Eren cursed because he has just this ability, but this ability it doesn't make him become this god on earth that can decide who's going to live, who's going to die. Eren doesn't have this power. Eren is just tricked by the idea that by starting the rumbling, he can finally reach the peace of mind by recreating his imagination, his dream in front of his eyes. But of course, this is not going to happen for real because someone is coming to get him. So, by the way, Eren has the possibility to go back and to say sorry before this event happens because he saw it from the future. And this is a unique opportunity. And even if from one side, as I was telling you, it's something good because he has the possibility to say sorry. But on the other side, it's like as if he is double cursed because he has to face the eyes of the person that he's going to kill. So this is even worse, don't you think? It's like a heavy punishment for him. I mean, we always see Eren as the one who's creating the catastrophe, the rumbling, etc., etc. But can we see in this dialogue even the fact that he is double punished by the destiny because he's facing the same boy that he has to kill? And by facing his innocent face for Eren, this is a double punishment because he's forced to see these eyes that are so beautiful, so innocent, and that makes him become even more evil than before. Because how can you answer that question in front of an innocent person? Why are you crying? Huh? If you knew, I know. I mean, if I'm Eren, I would have said, I know why I cry. Because actually, that's true. He only knows, and he doesn't want to answer to Ramsey about that question by saying, look, I know what's happening later in the future. No. But even by not saying anything to anybody, even by pretending to be that evil character that Mika's army were confronting, etc., etc., because he couldn't say anything to them. Even that is a triple punishment. So he's starting the rambling, and it's already wrong, and it's a punishment because Ymir granted him this power, but even Eren didn't imagine that this power was this immense, except for the fact that he had some visions from the future. And it's a punishment because there is no way he can come back as before. So Okay. Second punishment, he has to confront the young boy that he saved first, but now he's going to kill him. So okay. And the third of all, he can't say anything to others. He has to keep everything for himself, and he can't reveal his real feelings to anyone. So as you can see, even Eren is tortured inside. Even Eren has to feel all these things that of course are not comparable to the effective things that are happening, but at the same time don't believe that Eren is just, yeah, okay, I'm going to destroy, who cares about everyone, yeah, that's it. No, there are even some punishments that are simply immense. Even the fact that Mikasa will kill him, okay, I can just imagine that's another punishment for him. But maybe it's also seen as a benediction, but because she, the beautiful world, is going to benedict the cruel world that is going to be exterminated by her. So as you can see, there are so many ways to see this story, and I'm really happy to follow it because I've never found such a meaningful story before, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead. Uh, uh, Even the way in which these colossal titans are without any facial expression. I mean, they are neutral like that, and they are marching because, of course, we know that they are controlled by Eren. So their facial expression is nothing. I mean, there's nothing that can be depicted from their faces. They are like machines that are robotically controlled. They are marching without any sort of a feeling, without any sort of empathy, without any will to stop. So these colossal titans that are creating a wall that is moving, a wall that is approaching, it's terrorizing. Try to be in Ramses' position right now. Uh, yeah, it's like these when these colossal titans are moving, they are not even stopped by the mountains, by the water, by anything. They are immense and at the same time unstoppable. And look, I like the way they represented the fear here because it's something that you know that it's inevitable, something that you can't stop, and no matter where you go, you're condemned. And they are marching, destroying everything they have in front of them, and they are merciless. They will never do anything to interrupt this. So they are automatic. All these people are automatically condemned. And now I connect myself with that scene in which they were all happy together when they were celebrating for the last time, when Eren was so happy. And at that time, I remember that I cried because I could see Eren, Mikasa, and Armin all together. And it was the last time in which we could see the face of Eren, who was smiling. That was such a sad view because we knew that after that moment, this moment was coming. So the difference between the night in which he is in front of Ramsey and he is spilling out the truth as if when it's night, look, let me tell you a secret. Or at least when it's night, nobody can see me, so I can tell you this. In the morning, let's destroy everything. I mean, I really like the contrast between the darkness and the light, because when it was darkness, it was like as if everything was sleeping, everything was so calm, the calm before the tempest, or the storm, and in the morning, the disaster. So as you can see, even the way in which they are projecting these scenes based on the light of the day, it's awesome. And it's so meaningful, because even if it's light and it's in the morning when the rumbling starts, there's no way to escape. There is no way to find a shelter, a dark place where these colossal titans can see you. But the night before, or I don't know exactly, I mean, chronologically speaking, I don't know if it was the night before. No, it was not the night before, it was months before. But that night when Ramsey was confronting Eren, everything seemed so quiet and nobody imagined this. So I really like that at that time Ramsey was confronting the owner of the person who was I mean the owner, the person who started the rumbling, and he had the chance. I mean, Ramsey had the chance to see the face of the person who provoked all this. So as you can see, while Eren had the possibility to say sorry to the person, to the innocent, one of the innocent people that was about to sacrifice, on the other side, Ramsey had, unconsciously speaking, I mean, indirectly speaking, the chance to meet the person who started the rumbling in front of his eyes. And that person was not happy at all to start the rumbling. He was crying hard. Yes. And this is another thing that Ramsey has in common with Eren, because Halil, the friend of Ramsey, seems Armin. Do you remember? I mean, even Armin was not sure of himself. Even Armin was not confident about his potentials, and he was trembling all the times. Halil is doing the same here, because he's saying, Ramsey, are we going to be crashed down? Are we going to be destroyed like this? And he is already crying, while Ramsey, there he reminds me of Eren once again. He's just saying, no, 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 no. What are you saying? This is not going to happen. We don't give up. So, wow, the way in which Eren was looking at Ramsey as if he was looking at the young version of himself, that's crazy, okay? That's mind blowing. Because for Eren, this thing will happen even later, after that dialogue he has with Ramsey, when one day he will meet Gabi. Because even Gabi was resolute. She was saying, I don't give up. I'm going to kill them all. Eren and Jaeger, I'm going to destroy you. La 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 la. Even Gabi had a great dream. Even Gabi was fighting for it. So as you can see, all the times Eren is put in front of innocent people, or anyway, in front of people who resemble himself. And this is the number five of the punishments. So as you can see, Eren is constantly punished because of his behavior, because of his choices, and because of the people he has to face. Even when Sasha died, that was another punishment, because at this point, I think that he knew that it was happening, but he couldn't prevent these from happening. And at the same time, he had to face the fact that it was because of him that Sasha died, because they came to rescue him. So punishment after punishment after punishment. And that's the punishments that Eren needs as a consequence of what he wants to do. So as you can see, even if Eren wants to start the rumbling, that doesn't mean that he's not punished by events, by the destiny, by his life. itself, when you do something bad, you're going to be punished. That's called karma. So I think that these are all ways to define it is karma. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait, wait. Once again, okay, there's no way to give up. To save the island, to save Eldia. But there's more to this. Listen, now I open a bracket. He wants to save the island. He wants to save Eldia. But the problem is that on the other side of the ocean, there are even other aliens. But by being on the other side of the ocean, he even if they are exterminated, okay, because they are on the other side of the ocean, right? But they are aliens. So, Eren, do you want to save aliens, or do you really want to save Eldia? Because here he says Eldia. Eldia, is it referring to the Eldian Empire, like Flock was saying before, even if he had a misunderstood conception of it? Because if you wanted to save Eldia, in my opinion, you go against. Okay, let me see if I can explain myself. Ymir was eaten by Eldians. I mean, she was eaten by her daughters, her kids, right? And later, others were killing the previous ones. I mean, the previous owners of the Titans, but they were all Eldians, right? So she felt cursed for 2,000 years because she was betrayed by King Fritz, who was the king of the Eldian Empire. And she was creating the Eldian population based on the connection, let's say, based on the fact that she was having kids with the king of Eldia, that is King Fritz. But by creating Yumiru no Tami, I mean by creating the Eldian population as we know now, Ymir felt betrayed by this population of Ymir because she was she was the one that was eaten by Eldians, or by the people that later were recognized as Yumiru no Tami. So when here Eren is saying, I wanted to save Eldia, I don't think that, sincerely, that's just my stupid opinion, but I don't think that Ymir wants to save Eldia. At this point, she wants to erase this slavery that was made later by Marley on Eldians or on Yumiru no Tami, but it would be nice if everything would be erased, not just Marley. I mean, not just the others who are condemning aliens, but even the Yumiru no Tami that was eating everything from Ymir, because Ymir was eaten by aliens, not by Marlians. But let's go ahead. Let's hear what he has to say. But there's more to this. Let's hear. And while Eren is talking, the disaster is happening. These connection, this way in which time is related. That means present and the past, all these scenes that are exchanging This way to direct this episode like this was magnificent, in my opinion, because while Eren is expressing his opinion of the reason why he's doing everything that he's doing, in the meantime, you are seeing even the disaster. That means the words that he's saying connected to the consequences of these words that he's saying. That is a total disaster. That is a catastrophical event. And you can't even imagine somehow that these words that he's saying can be compared to this destruction. So the power of the words that can convert into uh, pure destruction, to desolation, to death. So it's like as if Eren, while he's talking to Ramsey, and it seems like a fine dialogue, I mean, a confession, okay? But at the same time, this confession is related to death. Amazing. I really loved this moment. And here we go. When Ramsey is losing the money, it's like when Eren lost his dreams in front of his eyes, or lost the most important thing that he got at that time, that is his family. Because here Ramsey was explaining us that that money was necessary to survive. So it was a way to save money, to have a better life, to let other people, not just him, have the possibility to gain food, to buy food. So it was a way to live. It was his dream to live better, right? But Eren stole from him this money that is going to fall down on the street. And Eren, who was dreaming something for his life, is stealing from another young boy the dream of his life. And in this case, it doesn't matter Ramsey's dream, because to Eren, the most important dream is his dream only. And he is clear now, because he's saying the reality of the world outside the walls was different from the world I dreamed of. That, look, when we hear something like this, we can say, oh, is this the reason why you created the rumbling? How stupid, how ridiculous, how selfish, but even how childish is this thought? I mean, you dreamt of something, okay, it was not like you imagined, so let's destroy the world? This is ridiculous, right? But anyway, his own self that day was destroyed. His beliefs were totally rushed away. And that's why I think Eren also made a huge mistake. But he was too young to reach this maturity to believe the contrary. Is that the expectations were too high. And that's why he paid the consequences when he realized that his expectations based on a book were not a reality, were just expectations. And unfortunately, there are lots of people like Eren. I mean, in the world, in our world, there are lots of people who expect some things from others. And when these things are not coming from others, we feel disappointed. Of course, we are not going to do what Eren did. But how many times in the world we hear that the boyfriend killed the girlfriend because he was disappointed by the fact that the girlfriend said, I don't love you anymore, and he killed her. Or how many times we hear about the serial killers who are killing others because they thought that they could have been better than them, or because they promised something to them, and then something happened that they felt disappointed, and they reacted like this. So if we are shocked by Eren's behavior, we should have been shocked by reality, because in our world every day something like this is happening, unfortunately. But this wants you to understand that you shouldn't create expectations in your mind until you see things with your own eyes, because the risk, the mistake, is that you feel disappointed, and when you catch that thing, then you can't go back and say, okay, let me change the dream, let me change the expectation, because that expectation is that you can't change it. So even this recognition, this admission of the fact that that was disappointing, it's a way to admit that everything that he was thinking was wrong. And if in the previous seasons he would have never said this, he fought so hard to go to the basement to see what was the truth, because he was still believing that they could have reached the ocean. That that book was not just a fantastic book, but it was a reality. So until he reached that ocean, and he could see something beyond the ocean, he could still believe that. But when you realize that everything you have dreamed of, it's a zero, you understand that all the times you fought for this dream, all of the lives that were lost because of this dream you had, all of the purposes to gain one more step to the goal was meaningless. When you saw your family dying because of this external unknown world, when you know that you asked other people to risk their lives because of your dream, was simply pointless, then if you are like Eren, your disappointment and all of the pain you suffered throughout the years can't be erased by, okay, let's have a dialogue with the other side of the ocean. If Eren would have done something like this, that would have not been Eren, in my opinion. I mean, even Armin, okay, lost comrades, etc., etc., but it's not like Eren. Armin made a promise with Eren. One day we will reach that those continents, that other side of the world, etc., etc. So I put myself even in Armin's position, because I might think, huh, if that day I didn't show the book to Eren, maybe we would have not reached this level. Maybe Eren would have been saved now. Or maybe Eren would have had another type of dream. So if I put myself in Armin's position, I would have felt guilty to have shown Eren that book, and to have said to him many times, Eren, let's go ahead. Eren, you will see that the ocean is not a myth, it's not a legend, but it's real. Come on, Eren, let's fight for this. Let's fight for it, because you know that book said blah 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 blah. Don't you remember when that book said blah 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 blah? And that book was just the hint to go to hell. Instead of going to heaven, they reach the hell. This reminds me, even if it's something else, it's totally something different. But this reminds me of the Divine Comedy of Dante, because even there, in Paolo e Francesca, uh, in that part of the Inferno, that is a hell, at a certain point Dante is saying Galeotto fu il libro e chi lo scrisse. That means, unfortunately, because of that book and who wrote that book, the two of them fell in love. In that case, they were talking about their love story, because it was thanks to that book that they could experience love. But in this case, Shingeki no Kyojin, I would say Galeotto fu il libro e l'avanzata verso l'inferno. That means, unfortunately, because of that book, they reached hell. So if I were Harmin, I would have said, now, look at that. It's all because of me. It's all because of that book that I showed him, that I could have created in him. All these expectations, all these dreams, all this will to fight, to reach what? To reach the rumbling? To create these desolate continents because of the rumbling? I mean, can you imagine? Okay, now I wanted to share something super stupid with you, but can you imagine if that book was a book coming from the future, and that book was describing the desolate and the desert continents that were outside, on the other side of the ocean, because that was the result of the rumbling. I mean, after the rumbling, there were these continents without the population, because of course everything was destroyed already. That would have been so great. An immense plot twist. Can you imagine if they turned the cover of the book and it was written, look, this book comes from that year. Okay. Oh my. It was different from the world I saw in Armin's book. When I learned humanity was alive outside the walls, I was disappointed. I mean, not because the continents they were not there, maybe. Not because the book was saying one thing and then later they discovered a little bit something else. No, he's saying that the reason why he feels disappointed the most is that because he discovered that the humanity was there outside the walls, because they believed to be the only humanity they knew. I mean, the only humanity left. So they felt even a little bit proud to be the one left over there, so they could protect themselves thanks to these walls. So these walls, from his perspective, were used as a protection, not from a cage. I mean, not from a vision as a cage, but from a vision as, look, we are the only one left here. So if we die, humanity is going to perish. So let's use these walls to protect us, not to confine us because other people want these for us. So, what made him extremely disappointed was, of course, that the Book of Armin was not saying the right thing. I mean, in the Book of Armin, they were not saying, look, outside of the walls, you can find the continents, you can find even some people. No, the book was talking about the continents only. So, this for Eren was a lie. All that he was living so far was a lie. The book was a lie. The dream was a lie. The missions were a lie. The way to conquer these missions when they were defeating the Titans and they were coming back, even if they lost lots of comrades, but they were coming as victors, was a lie. When he closed the wall, thanks to that rock in previous seasons, and in the background you hear the sentence, for the first time humanity triumphed. It was a lie. Everything was a lie. So that's why he is disappointed. And when, even if it's too extreme to understand, Eren, but try to imagine when your life is based on lies. Lies after lies after lies that other people are telling you. You lived a life that doesn't exist. But you know that your life exists. And if it exists, you want to grab it again. You want to steal it from them, the ones who stole indirectly your life based on lies. So, if we see things from this perspective, I can feel compassion for Eren, really, because I can't imagine if my life was based on lies, if what I believed was never happening, if what I was dreaming was just not happening because of lies. And it makes you feel as if you are nothing, that your existence was just nothing. And that's why, if for others, Eren is wrong because he's thinking by himself only. From Eren's perspective, other people tricked him for all these years, and now he is taking his life back. Because after all the lies that were said, now it's his turn to take everything back. So it has a meaning. But when he made this confession and he's crying, he is like a young Eren, like the boy Eren, who saw that day his life crashed down and lose everything. From that moment on, the lies started to be reality for him. The lies took form because after the wall Maria was attacked, of course, before he said that he wanted to join the Chosahedan, but later, when the walls were attacked, from that moment on, all the lies, all that was coming after, were becoming reality for him because there was a way to reach the other side of the ocean, because there was a way to reach the ocean, because they were defeating the Titans, because they were thinking that humanity was surviving and was winning against the Titans. And later, when they were starting thinking and understanding that the Titans were human beings, da, 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 the beginning of the lies that were taking form as lies. So, as you can see, from that day, Eren started a life based on lies, especially because he was following that book, and that the book gave him so much hope and such a great courage that was transformed into that, I mean, into courage when he was fighting, because that dream was helping him fighting. There was a reason why he was fighting. But now that we discover that everything is a lie, it means that everything that I fought so far was meaningless. It didn't exist. But the lives of the people that were lost, those were not lies, they were facts. And those facts were based on the lies of that book and the lies of what I saw from the future sometimes, because he saw even Grisha's version. He saw many things. But yeah, these lies that are starting consuming Eren little by little. But now then there is the death of Ramsey, and of course, it's like as if Eren is seeing live the death of Ramsey, and he's crying hard also because of this. I wanted this. I wanted to wipe everything away. Of course, at this point. I mean, if we take for granted what I told you before, uh, it's obvious. I mean, Eren saw one by one all these lies coming out until he reached the final lie that was immense, and everything had to be eliminated because, from Eren's point of view, that's all a lie. So this lie has to be erased because Eren prefers the truth. And in his opinion, the truth was that outside of the walls, there were no people. There was no humanity. So, if in my dream there were no humanity, there was not a human person outside of the walls, let me create the truth now. That's how Eren thinks. Then, if it's correct or not, it's different. But I'm just telling you that if, I mean, he wants to recreate Armin's book. Okay, in the book, was it written that there were no human beings? Okay, we discovered that there are human beings. No, I'm not fine with that because, in my opinion, that's a lie. So let me erase the lie. Let me create Armin's book for real now. So I can feel not disappointed. So I can feel better. So I can feel as if I believed in something, it's really happening. And I didn't waste my life believing in something that was a lie. So now that I have the opportunity to gain this power, let me create the real Armin's book. And let me save the island. Because that's how it was supposed to be. To have the island and to have nobody outside. It's hard. It's hard. And in the meantime, Ramsey is looking at him as if he's saying, "What is he saying?" I don't even understand what is Eldia, what is a Paradise, what is this Armin's book. I don't understand. He, of course, Ramsey is looking at him as if he is saying, "Did you finish?" Because I don't know how to answer except for the fact that I see this desperation in your eyes. But how can I? How can I heal your pain? There was no way. But of course, thank you for answering my question, because his question was, "Why are you crying?" Wow, and then this beautiful eye that is showing you Ramsey's perplexity because he's not understanding anything that is happening. And another thing that I like is that there is the full moon, and there is this beautiful scenario in the background. It's like as if the light of the moon. Sorry, because I still have a hay fever, so my nose is completely gone. But it's like as if, thanks to the light of the moon, we can enlighten what's the real thing. I mean, you know that in literature you have that period of time between, yeah, I think it was the 16th century, no, the 17th century, sorry, that it was called the Enlightenment. In particular in the Italian literature, but even in the French literature whatsoever, but even in German literature, yeah. Um, the Enlightenment was that period of time in the 17th century in which 17th, 18th century, yeah, in which the authors were thinking that thanks to the light of reason, you can describe the world. You can be realistic. And enlightenment, it's because reason was becoming more important than feelings. Reason was the only way to be true to yourself. And it was a sort of light in darkness because before authors preferred to give importance to feelings instead. This light of the moon that is enlightening the faces of these two characters that are, one is confessing to the other one and the other one is speechless because he is like as if Eren is speaking a, a language that he doesn't understand. That it might be so, because even when Jija, that the old man, was coming with these two cups of tea, and he's talking to Eren and to Mikasa in the other language. Eren didn't understand anything because I don't think he translated it properly, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I think that maybe, why are you crying? And Eren was speaking with the other language, maybe, and he didn't understand anything. Ramsey was looking at him like, what is he saying? So I like this light of the moon that is omnipresent in this scene because it's like an enlightenment. It's like as if everything is put under the light, everything is revealed. And it's so amazing because after this scene, we understand Aaron's purpose, we understand why he did it. It was like a confession, and it was simply amazing. Eh, here we go. Here we go. Then Ramsey is seeing Ymir while he is crashed. Ymir, let me think because Ymir is crashing. I mean, she gave power to Eren. But anyway, the power is Emir's power. And this power she gave Eren had the possibility to crash part of the world. Is it part of the revenge that she was planning? I think so, because of what I told you so far. That means, anyway, she was betrayed. She was considered as a slave. She was creating this population of Ymir, and as a consequence, she was eaten by her daughters. She was working, I mean, she was a slave of a King Fritz. But you remember one thing. I mean, maybe you remember that Ymir was disappointed for one thing. And that's why, in my opinion, she decided to give the power to Eren. If you remember, she, when she was conquered, I mean, when her village was conquered by King Fritz and his population, that is the Eldian Empire, the real and the first Eldian Empire, that is this tribe of Eldians who were trying to conquer other villages by enslave others, by raping women, by doing all the worst thing possible. Okay. But I remember an iconic scene from that episode. That is when King Fritz was kissing a woman. Ymir, at that time, was discovering, thanks to that gesture, something that she has never noticed before. I mean, something that she didn't know. That is love. And she thought, okay, love is when two people are kissing and two people are manifesting the love they feel thanks to a kiss or thanks to affection, whatever. So when she got that power after she fell down the tree, and she heard those words from King Fritz after she was condemned because she was accused that she opened that cage for the pigs, etc., etc., etc. She gave this power to King Fritz every time he needed, because she thinks at that time that if she is useful to others, she can be considered as a lovable girl, I mean, as a nice girl, and she maybe was hoping to reach the same goal, that is love or to be loved. But later we discovered that she is disappointed. She is disappointed by King Fritz because when she is protecting him all the times, especially when he was almost attacked by one rebellious Marlian who was under him already, she preferred to protect him with her body. At that time, maybe she imagined King Fritz will help me, will see that I'm almost dying, he will stand up and he will say something that makes me understand that he loves me. He didn't say anything. He said just wake up or stand up because I know that you're not dead. Well, maybe she was waiting, like, oh my, are you okay? Ymir, Ymir, or something like that, you know. Later, when she's having these daughters, Maria, Rose, Sina, she believed that that was a proof of love that King Fritz was giving her. But do we know? I mean, we don't know if while she was having these kids, she was kissed. I mean, while they were procreating these three kids, we don't know if when they were making these kids, she was kissed, like she saw when King Fritz was kissing that other woman. Maybe she was waiting for that moment, but that moment didn't come. And maybe she thought, oh, he made me have these three kids because he had an idea already about what to do about me if he had to get rid of me. So, as you can see, even later, when Maria, Rose, and Sina are eating her, she was she had another confirmation of her disappointment. Where is the love she was searching for? Where did it go? Why it didn't happen to her? So, throughout all that time, Ymir felt disappointed because she had a vision of love that was totally different from what she experienced later. So, as you can see, Ymir is really similar to Eren because even Eren felt disappointed about an idea that was confirmed as a lie. And Ymir felt the same by believing that the love would have been the kiss that she saw, but it was not true. It was not happening. So that's why I'm saying that Ymir and Eren have lots of things in common. And okay, later I'm going to explain you why for other reason when we reach that scene in which they are together. But what I wanted to say is that both they were disappointed into something, and now that Ramsey is almost smashed by this colossal titan, pushing his head on the ground, and Ramsey is seeing Ymir. She is there also because she couldn't find the love she wanted, because all her population was condemned, and that's why she was having her revenge now. And her life was a pure slavery. So her not having a facial expression, and by not even showing her eyes, you understand that she's still in that mood in which she was for 2000 years. And in that moment, when the colossal titans are appearing, Ymir is looking at this boy. But I think that by looking at this boy who is smashed by the colossal titans, she feels as if she also was in that condition previously, because she was eaten while she was still alive, because she couldn't die. Actually, she could have regenerated. In fact, the King Fritz was right, but she was eaten, and she was betrayed. And even Ramsey at this point is betrayed a little bit, because that person who seemed friendly, who cried, who spent the night together to have fun together, that time at that time, etc., etc., and now that person created all this destruction and his death too. So it's a, even in that case, it's a repetition of a disillusion, a disappointment, death. As for what happened to Ymir, but to Eren, it's not happening still, because he's still alive. But it's a thanks to this combination, it's a thanks to Ymir giving him the power, that even Ymir is feeling relieved. I mean, she feels avenged a little bit. But going back with what I was telling you before, Ymir was disappointed by the concept of love. Eren was disappointed because of the humanity that was still outside of the walls, even if, I mean, he was disappointed because his life was a simple life, a simple lie, sorry, a big lie. So if they join forces, because they both felt a great disappointment, the power is unlimited, or at least is immense, is huge, and even the proportion, the size of Eren as the Shumi no Kyojin reflects exactly the size of a disappointment, the size of a pain, the size of a sorrow, the size of a suffering, that all these Yumi no Tami for 2000 years felt. So the size is enormous, and it can't be a little titan, sincerely. Also because of that, because it equally represents the size of all evil things, the size of all bad things that happened to Ymir, to him, and to all the Yumiru no Tami. Um, so even the fact that Eren was the one who came to save Ymir, and for the first time, Ymir felt as if someone could understand her. It's a way to encourage him in this. And by seeing that she was having something in common with Eren, she thought, okay, let me give him the power that I have, because we have many things in common, because finally someone arrived here, because someone hugged me, because someone cared about me. For the first time, someone came here just for me and not for others, for me. And these men told me that I'm not a slave, that I'm not a goddess, that I am just a human being, and that I was waiting for him to come, etc., etc. Let me give him my power, because finally I found someone who shared the same pain, more or less, the same disillusion, the same disappointment, even if the subject is different. So let me encourage him in this. Let me tell him somehow, by giving him the power, that he is doing the right thing, because I, Ymir, can understand him, Eren. So once again, when I said that he was influenced by her, it's also because of what I told you now. By having shared the same experience, by notice that they have things in common, these might be a way to encourage one another, to unify these forces together, and to transmit to Eren the fact that he's doing the right thing. Keep going ahead, Eren. Do it for me too. Me, that means Ymir. So, yeah, later I'm going to tell you one thing when we reach that scene, if we can, but of course, this time we can't. My. Ah. Ah, sorry. Do you remember when? Sorry, I have to drink 1 second. Do you remember when, at the end of the song "Rambling," the opening, there was this broken butterfly, broken by the rumbling. I mean, broken by the fact that these colossal titans were marching. Eh, That butterfly, of course, represents the beauty of the world, the innocent people, the people that are good people, the good side of the world. And when and when it was broken because of one of these colossal titans passing through that area, was that butterfly Ramsey? Because over there, in the scene 7 minutes 54, there was a scene that resembled that moment. That means that the new generations of that side of the world that was supposed to be the beautiful world, the beautiful side of the world, was gone because it was crashed by the rumbling. So that massacre that was committed was killing lots of people, innocent people. And it's like as if it's like that broken butterfly in the previous opening. Um, that was really, really intense. Look, these colossal titan, they are going like this without, I mean, feeling indifferent by doing what they do. That's terrifying. Oh yeah, they reached the mid area. Yeah. Look, there was the moment in which we saw even the ruins when Eren attacked the Liberio in the part one. Here we have Grisha's parents, and they are inside the jail. And of course, no, it's not a jail actually. It should be part of the clinic because I remember that he wasn't there and he was not. I mean, he was mentally unstable, especially after he met Eren and he was saying, Don't you have any regret?" And over there, everything started. And here you see the desperation of these parents who did what they could, even if they did something wrong sometimes, but now they are powerless. I mean, at that time, I remember when they were scolding Grisha and even when they were trying to brainwash Zeke to believe what was right for them to believe, for him to believe. And they seemed, I mean, especially he, the grandpa of Zeke, seemed to be so full of authority in that moment. He seemed so powerful in front of Zeke's eyes. But here you see the last moments, the desperation that is reaching him. And there's no way that he can do something to be rescued because the rumbling is coming. And he can't do anything this time. And the fact that he felt that this day was coming sooner or later, because you know that when they were instructing Zeke, he was believing, or at least he was saying to Zeke to remember that on the Paradise Island they are all demons, and if we are not careful, one day they can come and get us, or at least he was spreading through Zeke the fear that these demons in Paradise uh, might be, even if uh, even if he has never imagined that day would have come, and that he would have been a victim of these, even if yeah, they were scared. But one thing is to be scared and to imagine something that might happen, and one thing is when you have it in front of your eyes. The reaction is totally different, of course. It's here, isn't it? She's saying, Judgment Day has come for us. Eh, Judgment Day, you can call it even karma, because even if they did what they did in order to survive, and we are always talking about the instinct to survive, that it matters the most. But Grisha's parents were doing some bad things too. I mean, I can understand the fact that they were forced to brainwash the new generations because there was no other way, in their opinion, to survive until someone showed them another way, but it was too late. At the same time, I wanted to condemn them because they are part of those generations who created the forest, and because of their presence, they could have influenced the new generations and let them become other victims of what they were trying to do. So I think that when she's saying a judgment day has come for us, is referring also for all the sins they made, and they know what sins they are. I mean, they are not stupid not to understand them. They really understand what they did to Zeke, what they did to Grisha, what happened even later after when they were taking care of Zeke, and they feel guilty because of how they behaved to Grisha first, and they feel guilty because of how they instructed Zeke to force him to believe things. If you ask me if they believed that in paradise there were demons, I could have told you yes, because they have never seen paradise, or they were too scared to believe the contrary. Because if they believed that in paradise where there were not demons, I think that they could have influenced all the others, like Zeke in the case, and from their perspective, that influence was something negative to do. So I don't think that they have ever imagined or believed that in paradise they would have been even good people, like Reiner admits it later in front of Karina. But I believe that they knew how wrong they were because they were just scared. And when you are scared, sometimes you are doing the worst things ever in order to be rescued, or in order to survive, or in order to protect your family. See, even in this case, Grisha's parents, they were trying to do their best in order to save their family, and they did something wrong. So Eren is not so different in this case because he's doing something really wrong to protect his family. So sometimes when we have to protect our family, we do something that it's immoral, that it's not good to do. Even Zeke betrayed his parents to save his grandpa and his grandma, and to save himself too, because he didn't want to be transported, I mean, to be left over there at the port. So sometimes we are easily judging people who are making what we called as for wrong decisions. But we needed to understand the position of these characters, where they were when they were choosing these wrong things, and what we would have done in their case. I mean, in their position, if we were in their position. It's harder to say. Sorry. Let me see if I can sneeze. God bless myself. So, so where are they wrong? Were Grisha's parents wrong? For some reason, yes. For some reason, no. As always, we can't we can't judge because we were not in their position at that time. Sincerely, I didn't like how they behaved towards Grisha. I didn't like how they behaved towards Zeke, but this is obvious. But they were also aware. I really like this scene in which they are alone by themselves this time, and it's like as if this scene is telling you you were trying to escape from this moment for so many years, but later karma made its own rule and it came to get you. So they were risking their lives, so they were trying to brainwash others for years and years and years, believing that that moment would have never come, but it came. And it makes you understand that everything they tried to do in order to avoid these didn't mean anything, because anyway this judgment day was coming. But this judgment day makes Eren, let's say, like a almighty figure. I mean, like as if he's turned into a god once again, right? um But it's not like this. I mean, Eren seems that he has the power to decide about their lives, but no, it's not like this, because the one that is the most punished here, it's him, not all these people who are dying because of the rumbling. He is punished too, and he's not just oh, I crush them down and then I do whatever I want. No, no, no. Eh, wow. I mean, did you see that the scene in which they are trying to steal things from the shops, as if they are still able to go, but then they are crushed by the colossal titans? This is unbelievable if you think about it. I mean, that the scene in which they are trying to steal everything, or they are trying to run the car. They are trying to steal the car as if they don't know that that car can't take them so far away from that context. But anyway, they try, and you see these bodies burned alive. Hell on earth. And the statue, yeah, and the statue of Heros, who was defeating the Titan. That's an ironic way to put it over there, because that the statue that was supposed to be the symbol of the victory on Titans, on the victory of all these demons that were sent to paradise, and then we know that the that the king Fritz of Hyakun and Mai of 100 years before decided, look, I don't want to fight anymore. Let me go and find a shelter that is Paradise Island. Let's go. But at that time, everyone believed in that statue of Heros. And now that the statue is in the middle of the street, with all the chaos, and you understand that everything they were trying to spread till that day, that means the titans, or anyway the demons were defeated once for all, blah, 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 it was all a lie, because now they are approaching. I mean, these colossal titans are approaching to destroy them. So it's like as if this nightmare, from their perspective, was never gone entirely. So that statue loses the meaning as soon as in front of your eyes you have the evidence that everything that you have believed till that moment was a lie. Even from their perspective, it was a lie. It was a lie believing that all of the paradise people who were living on the island were the demons, and it was a lie believing that these demons were not so powerful as they were, because thanks to this statue of Eros, they believed that yes, now we have the power to control them. We put them on that island and we put all the walls around, so they are in the cage and we are here to rule. No, in this case, the colossal titans are marching and are destroying you. So everything is based on lies that were perpetrated uh, years and years and years and years. And see, in this scene, 9 minutes and 28 seconds, we are here now. There was a man driving a car, and as you can see immediately after, a man that is from the same area where they are living is grabbing this man and crash him down because he wants to drive the car, and then other people are jumping on the car one after the other. You see the desperation, but even in a scene like that, you understand that nobody cares about the others first. Everyone cares about their own survival, their own way to rescue themselves. With this scene, you understand that moved by desperation, moved by the will to survive, you are able to step on others if this means that you can survive. This scene is amazing because it makes you understand that there is not the community. There is not the intention to survive everyone together. There is not the intention of being polite and kind and okay, let's save all together. We can have all the space we need on this car. So there is a place for everyone. No, you see people that are taking the others and move them away, and then all the others doing the same thing on the other side. Pure selfishness. When there is the moment to survive or to care about ourselves, so we don't care about others. And if we say the contrary, that's hypocrisy. I mean, I don't want to say you are hypocrite, but that's pure hypocrisy for me, because this is not going to happen for real. First, we save ourselves, and then we save others. If we are okay, we save others. This is a scene in which there is this old woman crying, grabbing two kids. These This scene was made on purpose for letting us feel broken inside, to let us feel as if we were standing on the side of a person that little by little became the real enemy for this side of the world that is Marley and the rest. Look, as a paradox, I remember when in the first two seasons, everyone was relying on Eren. Don't you remember? Since he transformed into Titans and they were using him, because that's what they did. They were using him and his power for the sake of what they called humanity inside of the walls. And they were all thinking that Eren was the hope for humanity. But later, this hope for humanity became the destructor. I mean, the person who was destroying everything. And that's really sad. Because now, the same people who believed in Eren in the previous seasons, now they are going to kill him. At that time in season one, nobody was expecting this. I mean, nobody was thinking, okay, Eren, one day you will become the one to be defeated, the one that has to be defeated by them. Nobody believed that. So when we reach this point, we feel really, really sad. I mean, from my point of view, you really feel as if we fought all this time for nothing. And this reminds me even Levi, when Levi himself is saying the same thing, more or less, when he is confronting these comrades who turned into titans because of Zeke's spinal fluid. And even Levi is saying these things. So he's saying, well, look what we have done so far. I mean, we thought to fight for something good, and look at that. Now we have to fight against Eren, or we have to fight against the one we believed that was there to be our trump card. I mean, our last chance to survive, a last chance to make everything in the best way. Yeah, in this case, Paradise is going ahead. I mean, it's going to be safe, but this is not what they planned from the beginning. Yeah. Oh my, this is a scene in which you see without any sort of voice. And in the meantime, the colossal titans marching, the people going inside the trains that are already full, and the colossal titans that are marching. That means, listen, no matter where you go, we are going to crush you down. There is no escape. So it's pointless that you scream. It's pointless that you run. It's pointless that you're trying to hide yourself. We are going to find you. And this is terrible because this is just, yeah, like the judgment day. That means you can do whatever you want, but there is no solution for you. And this immense structure of Eren that you finally see it, because last time we couldn't see it at all, but now we have the chance. You understand the size. You understand that if the colossal titans are judged to be enormous, because they are more than 50 meters, uh, Eren is even more big. I mean, even bigger. And he's the commander in this case. Wow. Uh, from the wait, I'm going to read it once again. From the moment I was born, there was always a stifling wall looming before me. Yeah, yeah. Fiery water, lens of eyes, sandy snow fields, people who witnessed, sorry, the people who witnessed these things were the ones that had obtained the greatest freedom in the world. This is freedom. As I was telling you before, he dreamt that outside the walls and outside, I mean, at the other side of the ocean, that there was nobody. And now Eren is creating what he dreamt of. I mean, in the book, it was written that there was nobody. Now I'm going to create the world that I expected because I was disappointed. So the only way to recover all these is uh, to create a world that it's not having any sort of a human life, that can create these continents only, and for the rest, that's freedom. I mean, this is uh, terrifying to watch because he is turning into reality what he discovered that was a lie. So once he discovered that was a lie, let's turn everything that I have always hoped into reality because now I can. I mean, if it's not happening because it's already there, let me create it. Let me be the one who is creating these once for all because I was always there behind those walls, believing or hoping that they would have come. And if it's not possible that it's already there, okay, I feel disappointed. Let me create it. And in fact, this is freedom. Because now he's creating in front of his eyes the dream that he has always wanted to fulfill. And he is on top of everything, and he is the young Eren, because I told you that from that day all the lies came true. I mean, Eren little by little discovered all the lies that he thought that they were reality, waiting for him to be discovered. So he's the young Eren, and he's on top of everything. He's almost touching the sky because if we look down, we can see the smoke or the steam. Sorry, that these colossal titans are producing. So he's not seeing what's under this steam. He's just looking in front of him, and in front of him, the panorama is super nice because there is nothing, there is no humanity, and there are just lots of, instead of steam, he will call them clouds, a beautiful sky, a beautiful blue sky, and he's by himself, as if, yes, I could make it, without noticing that under these clouds made of the steam of these colossal titans, there is hell. And when he was saying after, sorry, I have to sneeze one more time. When he was saying in part one to Falco, sometimes you believed that you have reached the hell, but later you discover that another greater hell is waiting for you over there. Yeah, this is what's happening actually. He surpassed all the hell to reach the other side of the ocean, but then he is creating that other hell because by looking down below, under it, and there is a destruction, but everything is not appearing because these steam of these clouds produced by the colossal titans are hiding from him the vision. So it's like as if he is living Another lie, believing that he could create this dream that couldn't come true from the beginning, and by thinking that that's freedom, it's already another lie. So unfortunately, Eren is stuck in this process of being tricked by another lie. And this time, the one who's creating a lie in a lie is him, because thanks to this steam, he can't see what's under him, but we can see that. So the illusion to feel as if he is free, you're not free, Eren. You are just pretending to be free by creating a world or by feeling omnipotent, to create a world that was good for you and not good for all the others, of course. So you are presumptuous to believe that you can create the world you wanted to create, without asking any sort of help or without even asking the approval from others. And you are too selfish to think that you can create this world as you like. Because if you think that you can create a world based on your thoughts only, based on your ideas, it seems as if you're a god, but you can't. You're not a god because you have a time limit, Aaron, and you are going to die. So just because of these, it makes you understand that you're not a god. And at the same time, even if I understand that he wants to create this world so even Armin's book could become true somehow, or he wants to do that so even his beliefs are not meaningless, but they became meaningful as soon as he could create, thanks to the rumbling. This vision in which there is nothing. So he could please himself before dying. That's just arrogant. That's just selfish. And unfortunately, we see Eren thinking that this dream was all over his life. That his life was based on this dream. That this dream made him create some fantasy inside his brain to distract himself from the routine that that at that time that routine was boring, but now he is regretting not having that routine anymore. See, when you lose what you thought that was boring, you realize that always after, when it's gone, when you don't have the possibility to gain it back, that's how Eren felt, because we remember that when he was inside of these walls and every day he was talking to Armin about this project, about this dream, etc., that dream made Eren alive. Otherwise, every day was always the same. Every day he had to do his homework. Every day he had to help his mother. Every day he had to go here, go there, listen to what his father was telling him. I mean, his life seemed to be boring. And thanks to that dream, his life was even more meaningful. When that dream became just a nightmare, because he realized that that nightmare was not, I mean, it was existing because the dream was not existing. In that case, even his life was becoming meaningless. And that's why now, before dying, he needs to make his final dream come true. Otherwise, he can't die in peace. After he creates this dream, he can die. After he can see this vision of a freedom that he has, then he can die peacefully. I mean, he can go because he reached it. He reached that moment that his life was waiting for from the beginning. The facial expression of Eren. See, at the beginning when he says, "This is freedom," his face is, and later, "We've finally arrived at this view." This is not a happy person because that dream was created by himself and not because it really existed as a goal. So the enthusiasm that was before, when they didn't know what they could have met once they went on the other side of the ocean, faded away. And these sort of resignation and sadness is prevailing now. Yeah, I think that Eren now is almost crying when he's saying this thing. We've finally arrived at this view. But as you can see, who's saying these sentence? The young Eren is saying it, not the adult one, because the adult one knows that that vision that he's seeing was created by himself. So it can't be something emotional, something satisfying himself. No, that's the young Eren who's looking at this view and he's saying, almost crying, "We are finally arrived at this view." Well, there's a huge contrast, guys, here, because on one hand, it doesn't make me seem as if it doesn't make me feel as if Eren is happy right now when he's seeing this view. And at the same time, it might seem as if he's relaxing himself because we reached this view. So now there's nothing left for me. It depends on how you see things, actually, because I told you he was an enthusiast 3 seconds before when he was saying, "This is freedom." And later, "Finally, we arrived at this view." It depends on how you see this scene. It can be resignation, it can be sadness, it can be uh, the way to be relieved after you reach this view. It can be many things. But the point is that, did he reach these because it existed like this already? No. Did he reach these view because it was written in Armin's book and it's reflecting exactly reality? No. So when you create the, the same thing you wanted to see, you're happy because it's the same thing you expected to see. But you're not happy because you know that it's fake, that it's not real, that it happened just because of you, just because you created that vision, not because it was already there waiting for you. So, no matter the view, that could be great because you can't see anything that is under. That means fire, people killing themselves, people being crashed away, etc., etc., etc. If you look straight, you don't see what's under you, right? But by looking at this view, he can't be satisfied 100% because it's just a mere goal to reach to please yourself, not a goal that you reach because you struggled a lot and then the price that you pay is that this vision is in front of you. That means, oh, finally, I found it after I struggled so much, after many of my comrades died because of this, after I read that Armin's book millions and millions of times. Dreams come true. No, in this case, he made this dream come true based on the rumbling. And it's not the same. The satisfaction can't be the same. So maybe when he reached that vision and the young Eren is opening his arms and yeah, then he's maybe recognized. He's maybe recognizing, ah, I made it. I mean, the result is what I made here. No, it was not pre-existing. And on the other side, there is this presumptuous way to destroy everything, to be satisfied, to reach that satisfaction that at the end of the day it can't be 100% as if it was already existing. So everything was done for what purpose? Eren is doing all these things in vain, for nothing, because there is not the same satisfaction. You killed a lot of people. The vision is the vision. Yeah, but what's left? What's left? You can't enjoy this with your friends because your friends are going against you now. You can't enjoy this vision because it's based on lies. It's based on something fake because you created it. So what's the point of all this? There's no point. There's just lots of resentment, lots of mistakes made, and lots of expectations not fulfilled. So I feel that Eren feels lots of emptiness inside his mind and inside his heart too. What was the point of all this adventure? To reach something that you can create? You could have created it inside of the walls at this point. You could have made something with cardboard if you had some cardboard. You could have created this vision, and that's freedom. When you create something and you are tricking your mind by thinking that that's real and it's not just a fantasy coming from your mind, that it's transforming into reality because you are destroying lives in order to reach that level. You have reached the lowest part of your soul, and you have reached the total emptiness. That's how I feel Eren feels now, really empty inside. See, there is the below part that is hell, and everything is covered by these clouds that are produced by the steam of these titans marching, that can let Eren not see once again the truth. This steam is making him blind in front of reality. It's the same thing that he's repeating again. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, this is the last thing that I will analyze for today. Eren turns, don't you think so, Armin? Because of course we are still stuck in the moments in which Eren and Armin, when they were little, they were dreaming. They were dreaming of this moment to come true. And these promise, because Armin was always rescuing him, telling him, the promise, Eren, remember the promise. So if I were Armin right now, I would have said, At that time, it was better for me to say something else. Look where we reached because I told him all these things over and over again, you know. But I loved the moment in which Eren could reach Armin. But he could reach the adult Armin, not the young Armin. Because I told you this before. Eren is still stuck to the moment he was young. He couldn't go ahead after that day. He grew, of course, but mentally speaking, he was still stuck in that moment of that day in which the armored titan and the colossal titans were breaking the walls. From that moment on, there was a switched off. I mean, Eren's brain switched off. He couldn't grow, mentally speaking. In fact, he's still spoiled like a baby boy who's destroying the world for his own interest, for his own dream. And that's how a baby reacts when his favorite toy is taken away from him. He's going to get it back. He wants it back. It's like when you give a kid his or her favorite candy, and later you're going over there and you steal it from him or from her. They want it back. That's the same thing. Eren is still in that moment. Eren didn't move from that day, mentally speaking, because the purposes came out or started to become a fact after that day. While Armin, when he's reaching the young Eren in that dimension, he's an adult because Armin went on. Armin understood that there are other ways to behave in the case you discover some things that they are not how they seemed. Armin processed it in a different way. He was more mature to say, okay, what was written in that book was not exactly what we expected. But in that book, even if they were showing you the continents, that doesn't mean that that book was excluding the possibility that humanity was there too. I mean, Eren was convinced about this just because Armin showed him and that in this outside world there are this continent and in this continent, etc., etc. They believed that they were the only human beings on Earth. They believed it. But it was not written in the book. I mean, in the book, it was not written, you are the only human beings on Earth. So when you go outside the walls, you will find this continent and this continent and this continent. It was like it was like as if they were opening a geographic book, a geography book, sorry. A book in which when you open a geography book, they don't show you the population. They show you the continents, they show you the mountains, they show you the rivers, they show you the fields, they show you the hills, the mountains, they show you the sky. Um, I mean, the desert, the icelands. I mean, they show you the world. But that doesn't mean that the population doesn't exist just because of these geography book don't show you anything. Do you understand? I mean, Eren was tricked by the fact that in the book it was not written, look, there is a humanity outside of the walls. He is disappointed of something, of a lie that was created even inside the walls. Because the race family knew, because of course they erased the memories of all the population inside the walls, but the race family, they knew that they were not alone. So Eren is tricked even by Paradise, not just by the outside world or by the book that didn't say that there were other human beings on the other side of the world. He was tricked also by the people he wants to save. Because the Race family, his story as a family, or Frida in the case, when we go back in time, she knew that they were not the only human beings over there. But she erased the memories of all of them so they couldn't remember. Okay. But it's not the book's fault, or it's not Armin's fault that Eren should feel disappointed because of the book and the book, la 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 la. Now he should feel more disappointed to Frida, who knew everything, but she preferred to steal your memories. And that person was living in paradise. She was not living on the other side of the ocean. So, Eren, are you disappointed? Yes, okay. But you should consider that even inside the paradise, someone was saying to you lies. Armin has a different way to approach life. Armin always tries to find a solution, always tries to find a plan B. Eren doesn't want this. To Eren, there is just a plan A. And in order to reach plan A, we have to do everything we can to reach it. For Armin, it's not like this. If we can't reach plan A, let's start with a plan B. Let's start with a plan C. We will find a solution. But for Eren, this is impossible to believe. For Eren, there is only one way. And if that way is impossible, he's going to create it. He's going to create it that way as he likes, as he thinks that it should be. And if you don't let him have it, he's going to steal it from you. He's going to get it anyway. So as you can see, there is this childish behavior versus this adult behavior. And Armin is already an adult. He already understood how it was. He could have felt disappointed, but things go ahead. But you have to move forward anyway. And even if it's not how you like it, that doesn't mean that in this world that you don't like, you can't find something good that deserves to be lived. I appreciate Armin's view because we can't have whatever we want. We are too spoiled if we believe so. And that's why I think that Eren's vision it's too childish, immature, and presumptuous. Absolutely. Unfortunately, yes, we have this vision in which, for an instance, Eren, it's like as if Eren was calling for Armin, just to let him understand, I made it, Armin. Don't you feel happy? Because I made our dreams come true. Even if it was impossible to believe it, I made it. Don't you feel satisfied? The answer of Armin would be no. No, I'm not satisfied, of course. Don't you see what you have created? Because I told you, Eren seems to be blind because he can't see under himself. So don't you see what you created? Are you too blind? So wash your face and check carefully. I appreciate Armin because even if things didn't go as he likes, anyway, he has a way or a will to go ahead. And I understand Eren because he wanted to reach this goal also for Armin, also for the sake of Armin, also because he promised Armin that one day they would have reached that goal. but it's not necessary anymore. Armin doesn't need that anymore because the most important thing is that you stay by him, by his side, and you don't go away. If you go away, that's really painful for him. Who cares about the continent of ice? Or who cares about the fact that other people live on the other side of the world? To Armin, you, Mikas, and all the others are his world. That's what matters. But for Eren, it's not the same. It's not enough. And I like even the way in which Eren wanted to contact Armin, even for a second, because it was a way for Armin to reach him a little bit more. It was a way for Armin to reach that Eren that needs help, that needs to talk. Even if he says that he doesn't want to talk, he needs to talk because he's stubborn. And he's stubborn because he uh, imposed himself to be stubborn. Because if he is no more stubborn, he's going to stop in a few seconds. But he has to be stubborn. Otherwise, he's going to disappoint himself about himself. And that's impossible to believe. That would be the end for him. Okay, guys. Wow, other 3 hours just for 5 minutes. And it was really tough. This this scene was really intense. This scene was really important to analyze. And I hope to see you soon in a couple of days so we can go ahead with these and we can keep analyzing all these because there are so many other important scenes to analyze to understand. So stay tuned and keep on watching me. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you in a couple of days on Monday. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and keep watching the Shingeki no Kyojin because if you didn't watch that, you should. Bye. See you. Bye bye.